Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamp It Your Way for May. It is May, and it's new catalog time, and we are so excited to be here. I am Betsy Kreider with BCreative Stamping, and I'm in Pennsylvania. And my sidekick over here is...
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Ellen from Create With Me, and I am in East Central Illinois.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. We're so excited to be here. And we always get together every month and we just have a good time stamping together. And we're glad that you're joining us and, watching and seeing what we're doing. And hopefully you get some laughs and learn some new tips and techniques.
Yeah, and this one's really fun too, Betsy, because we're using a new product out of the new catalog. We have a new catalog that went live on May 1st. So we're going to be showing you an amazing suite of products, and we know that you're going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy stamping along with us, or stamping with us later. So,
So did you get all your favorites out of the new catalog already?
I still have a few. I just kind of have to pace myself. How about you?
I'm a demonstrator. I get a discount. I want it all, and I want it all right now.
Well, I will say that this suite of products was one of the first ones that I had to grab, and you'll see why in just a second. Because if you don't know, my studio here is called the Creativity Nest. So that's a little hint.
Hint,
So
hint. Yeah, absolutely.
You ready
Yeah,
to
there's
show
some
the product?
beautiful. Yeah, there's some beautiful stuff in there. Yeah, you ready? Ready to get started?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we can talk about the new catalog. I'm just joined it, so whatever you want to do.
I'm all for winging it. New catalog. Yeah, I mean it's you have it there, right, at your desk.
I do. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's go see it.
So here's the new catalog. It's so beautiful. You
It's
can
so
see
pretty.
it is so pretty, and you can see a little bit of shine on it because it's got an embossing all around it. It's just a pretty catalog. It just screams, nature and fun and relaxation. You'll notice mine spiral bound. I just have mine spiral bound so I can lay it flat on my desk. When you get yours, you won't have that, but you can easily have that done. So you want to go
One
inside.
of the things
What?
One of the things that I love about this cover is that Stampin' Up! Really is kind of talking about this curing loneliness, right? So many people, this is all about us getting together and being together and this, ending loneliness. And it just looks like a group of friends just having a good time. Now, would I be out there in the grass per se? Maybe not, but I would definitely want to be with my friends and having a good time, right?
Well, most certainly, and gathering with friends is what keeps me doing what I'm doing, and I know it's the same for you. Just
Yes.
being together, doing something that we love as a group. Whether I know this is maybe not super practical, but when we are together with friends, I think that's portraying this whole feeling of just the gathering feeling and being with friends. So
Absolutely.
yeah, love it,
Absolutely, I agree.
absolutely love it. So you'll see a few little different things in this catalog. I think after you look at it, Betsy and I are really enjoying the new concept in here. And there's so much, I'm going to say, education in here. Don't you think, Betsy, there's a lot of things that have been missing and that are now in here, like some things on color and some
Oh my gosh, there's so many techniques. There's so many
yeah,
ideas for,
yeah.
whether or not you're doing a background image or whether or not you're sponging or braring or heat embossing. And there's, using embossing photos. There's so many techniques in this book. And it's right. It's an educational catalog. It's not a
Yeah.
catalog. It's an educational idea book.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of things.
My daughter calls it a magazine catalog, a resource. She said there's sketches in here and there's how to put a basic card together. So I just feel like there's something for everybody. But I want to show you the suite of products that we're going to be playing with. I'm going to say playing with because I like to think that what I do is playful. And I love this. So it's Country Wood Suite Collections on page 48 and 49 of the new annual catalog. You'll see here when I turn the page what part of the suite, but you can see the cute little birdhouses, which I absolutely love. So
Oh
this
my
is a
gosh,
giant
love it.
suite. This is I'm going to call it a deluxe suite because we've got 2 bundles in our this suite and 2 packs of 12 by 12 paper along with some accessories that I'm going to show you here in a minute. But we're going to concentrate on the Country Flower suite of products in our cards this week. So the Country Flowers and the Country Flower or Country Lace Designer Series paper is where we're going to concentrate.
So
So I
before
want
you
to,
move off that page,
yeah,
I think this is really helpful for some people. So up at the top, it says suite collection and it has an item number, which
right.
means you get everything in that suite. You get both bundles, both packs of DSP, the designer series paper, you get the embellishments, the folder, the ribbon, all of that. But if you are ordering and it tells you that this, and you want to order it as a suite, and the suite collection comes up and says to you it's unavailable, that doesn't mean the whole suite is unavailable. That just means there might be one part of it that's unavailable. So let's say that the ribbon is currently sold out. Well, you can still order everything else on those 2 pages except for the ribbon because you can order them individually. The suite collection item number is only for convenience purposes. So don't think that it's completely unavailable. I have a lot of people that get confused by that, and I want to make sure they understand that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's really a great point because that is so, so true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's just one item that's just not here yet, and so you can still get the bundle or the paper or whatever, depending on what's sold out or temporarily, usually temporarily. So thanks for
Yes.
bringing that point up. So we're going to use the Country Flower stamp set, and here's the a little bit better picture of what we're going to be doing. And I just adore this stamp set. There's a little bit of floral, there's a little bit of foliage, there's some really nice words, a sympathy, which sadly we need that all too
Always
often, but
need.
about best
Always.
friends and sending love and just so lucky to know you. So it's definitely a stamp set for friendship, which is all about what we're talking about with the gathering. So this is the, let me close my catalog. This is the stamp set. And then as we do our cards, we'll be showing you the dies that go with it. But I want to share with you the paper. And I've got some of the country lace paper here. Some of it's been cut a little bit, but it's just, this is kind of a blue, gray, and petal pink theme.
Hmm.
I'm going to
One
flip
of them
through it.
reminds me of denim. Isn't there a denim one in this that
Yeah,
looks like
yep,
denim?
this one right here. Yeah,
So pretty.
so pretty. And then there's a little bit of the new, I think this is a new basic beige. So there's a new basic beige and
Hmm.
then a little bit of green or a little bit of gray. And then the other paper, which is really my absolute favorite. I'm going to flip
Oh my,
through
yeah.
it here. I'm going to try to flip through it so you can see these wood tones.
Could I just have any of these on my walls, by the way? So
No,
any wall in my house, feel free to just,
I
would it be
know this
bad to
one.
take designer series paper and just literally paste them all over my
Yeah.
wall and put that as my wall? It's beautiful.
So every one of these, I mean, look at that one with the petal pink. It's just so pretty. Rustic, wood grains. I love everything about that paper. So hopefully we'll get to use that sometime soon. The other things
Yes,
that you get in that, the other thing you get in that suite are these basic gray and smoky slate pearls, which are beautiful. And I think we use those on our cards. We both use those on our cards. And
we
then
did.
we didn't use this embossing folder, but I'm really looking forward to using this. This is like
Mhm.
a little eyelet. It matches the paper that we're going to be using today, the country lace. And it is a 3D folder, so it's a little bit thicker, so it does give you a really nice embossed image. And then lastly in there, you get a duo pack or a double combo pack of ribbon, and one is this petal pink, which I'm totally in love with this. It's just I just
I
like
have
petal
used
pink.
I have used so much of this ribbon. I think I've gone through like 3 or 4 complete
I
packs of
know,
this ribbon already. Yeah.
I know. I've
Yeah.
used a lot too, and it's just so pretty. And then so it comes in white and then some petal pink. So I'm going to be using the petal pink today. So I've got that open for you. So let me move these out of the way, and then I'm going to start with my cards if that's okay with you. Let me just
Absolutely.
show
Jump in.
you.
Let's do it.
Good. So here is the sympathy card. And so I just love this little plant, and I want to show a fun way of using the dies, just the die cut behind it. So the background is, it's a little hard to see sometimes, but the background is this little
I do
dot
see
in the
that.
middle pink. So,
Mhm.
so pretty. So what you're going to get in your packet, you're going to have the designer series paper, because we've given you some of that. Let me get this card out of the way and this envelope. And so you've got your um, card base, which is petal pink, 8.5 by 5.5. You've got some layers of Lost Lagoon, and then that petal pink again. This is the designer series paper that we'll give you measurements and you'll cut it. I can just tell you right now, if you're doing Stamp It Your Way without having bought the packet, then this one is 3 3/4 by 5, and then this one's just 1/8 of an inch bigger. You've got the piece for the inside. Basically, it's the same, 3 3/4 by 5. And then some pieces that you're going to have some stamping and die cutting on this. And then this is our little banner that we're going to stamp the sympathy greeting on, our sentiment. And then a little piece to die cut this cute little pot. Now, there's no stamp for this, but you're just going to die cut this double handle pot. And I did the little
Oh, that's a good idea,
yeah,
because
I
then you
put
don't
the
even have to, you just use the designer series paper to be the decorative
to
pot.
be the decorative part. So I just put that little eyelet piece right in the middle, just like that. So when I got
Cute.
done, it looks just like
Oh,
this.
look
So
at
super
it.
cute.
It's so
I'm gonna
cute.
do a little bit, yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of embellishing to it to just make it pop. So that's what you're gonna need for your basic card. So let's just go ahead and fold the card and get the layers layered down on it. This paper, this card, not this paper, this card doesn't have any ribbon on this one. I use ribbon on the other card, and I'm going to do this one in landscape mode. So it's going to be just layered with the Lost Lagoon and then the designer series paper, which I can do ahead because there's no ribbon. I knew that was going to happen. I ran out of. I've got
Always, the
one.
minute you
I'm
get
all
on
ready.
camera.
I thought, well, don't take it out now because you're gonna have a little bit, but I didn't know it was like 1 inch, or I would have had that out. So, but I was ready. I was ready for you. I was ready. So let me just
I
get
was
it started.
prepared.
I know. I was thinking, oh well, you don't want to really take it out because then you've got 10 inches or 12 inches to use, and you could get through one card. Well, no, no, I
Sure.
should have known. And then the
Good
designer
timing.
series paper. Yeah, yeah. So there's your basic card, and then you're just going to do your embellishing. So I'm going to start with this little pot right here. And what I did was I took a marker. Now I've got both basic gray and smoky slate. On my card here, I use basic gray, and you can see that there is a little bit of a line. I just took my marker and outlined it. I'm going to try using the smoky slate and see if it gives me a little subtler color. So I think it will. So
I'll blend in
yeah,
a
I
little bit
kind of
better.
like it. So what it
Hmm.
does is it just gives it some uh what's the
Dimension.
word? I want to
Dimension.
say dimension. I was going to say dimension, or kind of you could even do a little bit of stuff on your handle if you want. I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'll set that aside. Then out of my soft sea foam, I took all these leaf dies. So I'm going to place them up so that you can see how they come. So
I
they're going
love
to
how
come
they
just
give
like
us
this.
so many dies that you're
Yes,
not having to cut like individual, right?
right. And I'm going to use my little poker here to show you that this is the individual leaf and this one, and then this is a double. And then you've got two of those so that you can cut a lot out at one time. And then this is all one piece right here. And I've pre-cut that for you. So let me put the dies out of the way and bring in the pieces. I've got two more here. I'm just going to use my piece of paper to pick them up. And I've got the pieces right like this. So you get the 4 loose leaves, the 2 that are together, and then this piece right here. So we're going to have that. And then we're going to bring in our scrap here for just our stamping of our leaves, our little plant. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and just do some quick coloring. So we've given you a piece of paper. So you, for both your cards, you can do 2, just like that.
What
I'm just going
color
to
ink
color
is that?
one. This is
What color
basic
ink is
gray.
that? Oh, the
Basic
gray.
gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. I know I'm really terrible about that.
No,
This
no,
is
no. I couldn't tell if it was like a dark, like almost
I
like
know
a
it looks
spruce. I couldn't tell if you were
it
using a
looks like
spruce or
I know it looks like a memento, but it's basic gray, which is basically
yeah,
almost a black. But
yeah.
so all your the only colors you're going to need, I'm using Lost Lagoon, light and dark for my to kind of match my paper here. This is my little layer. So I'm going to do this kind of down and dirty, super quick. You don't I think that's the thing I always want to teach about coloring is don't stress about it. I think people are like, "Oh, I don't like to color. It's so tedious," but it does not have to be. Like just watch where the leaves are and you can just color straight over. You can kind of do circles, you can do lines. It really goes fairly fast. You don't have to stay inside the lines when you're doing it with these leaves over leaves because one goes into the next. It's the when you're adding the dark color and the shading that's what makes it really pop. So see how fast I colored those leaves just like that.
But even
Then I
that
can go,
without shading,
yeah,
that's okay too, right? Like that.
super pretty. Yeah, it's super
Sure.
pretty. It's super pretty. So I'm just going to take the dark, do my stems, and then I'm going to give you tips on using dark. Anywhere that a leaf is going to overlap another leaf, I'm taking and making it dark. Anywhere like here, this one's overlapping here. So there's a shadow. I know there's going to be a shadow. There's going to be a shadow here. And really, you could just stop like that. Just this one's overlapping that one. So I'm going to make the dark kind of where these two are meeting and overlapping. And you could
Hmm.
stop there, or you could take your light and go back and blend it out. Just simple, super, super simple.
Hmm.
So if coloring is a
Pretty.
stressor for you, I hope that just giving you those little tips that blends the alcohol kind of blends into itself, and it doesn't take too much to just give it a little depth. See how that just changed it from being flat, flat to just a little bit of blending, and I didn't even do it that hard. So, I mean, I
Pretty.
didn't do that much to it, but I'm going to bring in my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and cut that out for you. So I've got the little die here, and the secret is just finding the right direction. And because I'm and because I'm because I'm always when I do it on camera, I don't always get it right. I'm going to use a little bit of tape, and this is a repositional tape. Oh my goodness.
It's sticking. It's
Yeah, I
really good
had it
tape.
out, but it didn't work. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that, just like this, to get that in the right place so that when I cut it, it stays. And then another thing is if you're unsure about like how do I cut when you're using a machine like this, always think like sandwich. That's what I tell my customers. Think sandwich. I'm making a sandwich and my my coloring is the meat or whatever inside, and then my plates are the bread. So this is your bread, and your meat or cheese are always inside. So if you're not sure what the direction is. Of course, there's directions on the plates, but if you're not sure, just think Mary Ellen told me that to make a sandwich. So that's that's what
We're all about the
we're all
food.
about the food.
All
We're
about
all
the
about the
food.
food. Yeah, we're all about the food. I mean, let's just get honest here. Okay, so
If
now
you
we're just
ask
gonna
me
put it.
directions, I'll point you to every restaurant along the way.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Okay, let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. We're going to stamp, I'm going to bring in the basic gray again. I'm going to stamp my greeting that says with heartfelt sympathy. And I'm going to just stamp it on my, I've used a piece of designer series paper. This is the same one that is the back of this one here, the little gray eyelet. And so I just did with heartfelt sympathy. And then I'm going to take my snips and do a little bit of a flagged end just by going down the middle and then coming up and hitting each of those corners up to the point and then pull that off. So there's my greeting here. So we'll go ahead and get started by taking our dimensionals off. We're going to start with this little bit. Now I recommend if you're when you're doing these leaves, probably just use a little bit of liquid adhesive. And we're going to lay that down, and this plant here is going to be coming from behind my flower pot, just like this. Whoop. Okay. And then I can add, I like to just go direct. I know that I want to extend this plant out a little bit, and I like to just go direct on my paper just like that. Using my take your pick tool, I can just pick up those leaves.
Isn't
And
that
this
the
one,
best? It's
yeah, I
so
love this
easy.
tool. Yeah, it's so great. And then we've got to have something coming out over here. So why not pick up one of these double leaves, and we'll kind of tuck it under that handle so that it's coming out just like that. So this is super easy. While I've got the glue, I'm just going to go ahead and add my little flag here. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. Now, there's a lot of ways. I kind of played around with this. I don't know. You guys can play around with it too. But I didn't want to go way down on the pot and just cover up all this loveliness. And I thought,
Mhm.
these stems are going right under this leaf. And I thought I thought about this a lot. This is me. So I thought this is coming down here. You're never going to see it. If I expand that way up here above the pot, it's the illusion of being just a little taller plant. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
See, so the stems are going down here. It's covered by this leaf. You've got a little opening. It's just not so flat. It's a little bit of more dimension. And then all I have to do is finish off with, I'm going to need that, some gems. So we've got, and then I'll do my inside. So I'm going to do the little darker color. I'm going to put one right here in the middle of our pot. And then I'm going to put one on my little greeting here. And I'm going to go to the bigger ones. And I'm just going to add I'd like to do the threes. This one doesn't count as my three. I'm going to go just like that. So pretty, just like
Cute.
that.
Cute, cute.
And then I'm going to make an inside for my card. I'm going to move this out of the way so it's not confusing. And I'm going to stamp the words sending love, because if I am giving you my sympathy, I'm definitely giving you my love too. And I hope that you feel it. So I'm going to do the sending love. And
Pretty.
I got thinking about this because I've got a couple extra die cut leaves. Why not add some of
Mhm.
those right here to the inside of the card, just like
Pretty.
that? Instead of stamping something, I'm just going to add the little leaves to the inside. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, and there's my card. So you can definitely make this your own, however you want. But I just thought that was kind of fun way to just use up those little bit of die cuts right inside, just like that.
Oh,
So
super
there's
cute.
there's my first card. So
Nice job.
let me get things cleaned off. So that one's not hard. And well, neither of my cards are hard, but let me just make room and get myself organized here. And so I'll bring in my second card. And here it is. And this is a fun
Oh,
little bookbinder
it's
card.
so pretty. I love
This
the
one's
pop of
this one,
pink.
yeah, this one is really pretty. This is using new in colors. It's got peach pie, and it's got the petunia pop and the pretty in pink, which is new but old, right? So we used to have it, and it came
Mhm.
back, and I just
I
thought
think it's
that
the pretty in pink is slightly different than what it was before, right? It's not exactly the same as it was before, is it?
I thought it
Thought
was
I
the
read
same.
that somewhere.
I did not read that, so that's news to me. I did not know that. Maybe
Yeah,
you're
I thought I
right.
read that. I thought I read that somewhere that it's not exactly the same as what we had long
Oh,
ago. It's like
oh,
just a slight variation change, which would make sense over the years of
I
different
guess so.
vendors and yeah.
I guess so. Well, this one you're going to need to bring in your little scoring tool. So we're going to get our um, cutting blade out of the way. And this one is just scored in half. This is just 8.5 by 5.5, our standard card base. And it's scored at 4 1/4, which would be half of the card. And then we're going to score it at 5.5, which gives us an extra 1 1/4 inch for the bookbinder. And I'll show you how that works. So we're going to fold our card in half, just like this. And then our book binding is going to fold back on itself like that. I love to do book binding cards, whether
Mhm.
it's this direction or if it's this direction. You could
Yeah.
even do it like this direction, right? So super, super cute. Or the other way, you could go across here and it could come up like that. So kind of like a notebook, I guess you would say. So you're going to have your card base, and you're going to have two pieces of cardstock. One is going to be for the outside, and then one is going to be for your inside. And then this piece is just scrap paper for stamping and cutting. You're going to need a little piece of designer series paper for your book binding. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere that on right now with a little bit of seal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love this. This is such an easy card. Such an easy fancy fold, but it's not overly fancy.
Yes, exactly. It's something that anyone can do, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm going to eventually glue this bookbinding down, but I'm not going to do it yet because I want to add my ribbon, right? I'm going to add my ribbon in a bow, a knot. It's entirely up to you. And I want to have it inside so that you don't see it on the back, right? So I could wrap it around the whole card and that would be fine too. But if I do it before I can, before I uh, glue it down, then I've got a place to hide that. So I think on this card, I'm going to use these scissors that aren't the sharpest for ribbon because I use them for paper. But I'm going to tie, and I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm going to tie a little knot. And I'm thinking on this one, I'm going to stop at the knot. I like the knot. I love the bow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But I
Yeah.
want to show you the bow, but there are so many people that say, can't do a bow, don't want to do a bow, and that's
Yep.
okay. A
Yep.
knot is perfectly fine. So I wanted to show you both options. And then I like
You
to
could
trim it
even
up.
have it. You could even
What?
have it where you just wrap it around and you seal it because you're going to seal
You
that closed.
absolutely, you could
They could just have a
absolutely
line
seal
of
it.
ribbon coming down the
Yeah,
side without any knot or
yeah,
bow
with
like
your
that. Yeah,
ends
the
inside.
opposite.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. With your ends inside, you could absolutely do that. If you want, if you're a ribbon conservativist, that's what I'm trying to say. Conservativist.
Is that such a thing?
That's yeah, it is. I said it was, so there.
I said it was. So there.
I said it. I said it, so it's true. Is that a thing? Sure it
It's a
is.
thing. Sure it
It's
is.
a thing. All right, so see how that's glued down now, and then that way that's your binding. It's so cute. I just love it. I do.
It
I
is
really
super
love
cute.
it.
I am
Here's what
totally going to do this card. I can see this. Yeah, this is such a pretty
yeah,
card.
so pretty. Okay, so let's do some of the stamping. So we're going to first do, I'm trying to decide which way to go. If I should do my stamping on my DSP maybe and cutting out, and then this is my piece for cutting. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be stamped um, little stool. And see what I'm using for it? Designer series paper. Am I
Hold on.
frozen? Yeah, I froze
It's
just for a second.
just for a second.
Yeah, give it a second because my it's not that great of a
Camera's going to zoom in there. Oh, there it is. Now I can see it.
yeah. So you can see the little
Right.
designer series paper. So I'm doing this is basic beige, but I'm gonna stamp in crumb cake. And before I cut that out, I'm gonna grab some, I'm gonna find them, crumb cake blends. I think I only need the light, but I've got the dark if I need it. So this is light crumb cake. And what I'm going to do is I am going to just color the legs of the, so here is this bench part is going to be overhanging the legs. I know I always try to over explain, but it's super easy to just hit shadows. Keep this all light. Just hit
Mm-hmm.
shadows where the light is going to be covering the little legs. And then again, I like to just give it the round kind of look, and the same on the top. It doesn't have to all be colored in. We just want to kind of keep it like that because we're going to put our little pot on it just like that. I think I would just stop right there. So that one's going to be cut out. Then we'll go
Pretty.
ahead and we're going to bring in our Memento ink because we're going to be doing some coloring with blends. And I am going to stamp my milk pail. and I am going to stamp my flowers.
I'm so glad you gave that a name, because I'll tell you what, on the tutorials that I gave everybody, I just kept calling it a pot. In the pot, cut the pot, color the
Well,
pot.
I think
But
I
milk pail makes
pot.
more sense.
I still need that. I'm not done with that. Yeah, a milk
That's
pail.
funny.
You know, us country folks, we have milk pails sitting on our front porches. That's just a thing we do. And then this cute little flower market can go right on the front and make it just complete the little. I could call it a flower bucket, right? Could be a flower
Yeah.
bucket. So
Yeah.
super cute. So let me move my
Or you could
stamps
be
out
me
of
and
the
just
way.
call it a pot.
Or you can just call it a pot. That's perfectly fine. So I think I'm going to color, if you don't mind. I think I'll color that quickly. I'm going to try to color these. And I'm sorry, that was just not, I was telling you, Betsy, before we got on that to do this is not the best tip on this marker, was easier to, it was just not going to be an option to color everything in advance. So I'm going to try to use my fast tip here. It's not the greatest. My markers get used a lot. They're loved. So I
That
think you get the
I'm
idea though.
They are very loved. I actually keep an extra set that are just my love. I keep a set on my
Actually,
desk that
great.
are just
Yeah.
for me. Just
Yeah,
for
great
me.
idea. I'm going to try to
Yep.
hit this really quickly by just bringing in some here, a little bit for the rounding. I'm going to change tips and do this band in dark, just like that. And then I can come back with the nib end, which definitely is much better
Sure.
than my brush ends.
Do me a favor, slide over to the middle just a little bit.
Yeah,
There you go.
I thought it was going off just a little bit. So
No worries. We
well,
all
I just
lean to
need
the
to,
right a little bit, right? We all lean to the
yeah,
right.
yeah. So there's my
Pretty.
bucket right there, and then my colors for my card is light and dark petunia pop, which these should be in good shape because they are new. They just came
They are
out, and
that petunia pop. I'll tell you what, I'm
I'm in
liking
love with
that
it.
color. I really
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite. I mean, I like all the new in colors, but this petunia pop is probably my favorite. I will
When
just
I
say it. It's my
first
favorite.
saw them, when I first saw them in colors, I thought, oh, it's very Eastery. As
Yeah,
far as the
yeah.
colors all together, with the shamrock and the summer splash and the pretty in pink and all of that. But when you see them like this, I love this. This to me is not Eastery. This is like so bright and summery to me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true. Yeah. So I think when I'm doing a small image like that, I'm not even going to go back and blend. I'm just going to let the colors do their own thing. And so now I've got the next new in color is the peach pie. And so I'm going to do this kind of dahlia zinnia type flower in the new peach pie. And it's again super quick and easy, just coloring in. The artists at Stampin' Up have done all the hard work for us. All we get to do is add our little fun touches to it. And on this one, I guess I'm looking at my card now. I'm just going to say that when I made the card, it wasn't peach pie; it was petal pink. So
That's
use
okay.
petal pink or peach pie, whatever you have. You have petal pink, and you have the petal pink, but you haven't gotten the peach pie yet. That's fine. I'm just going
Yeah.
to show you the difference. So here's, let me show you up in the camera. So here's the petal
Oh, it's
pink,
pretty.
and the peach pie is pretty too, though, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
I like it.
flowers, you cannot go wrong with
No,
flowers
you
of
can't go
any
wrong. No,
color.
you're right.
I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
you can't go
Yeah, you're
wrong.
definitely, you can't go wrong. So these flowers can just be quick little circles. This is the pretty in pink. So it doesn't have to be like super high maintenance, I'm going to say. And if you want to just leave it like that, you can, or you can just put in a little bit of shading by just popping. Like I'm not even really paying attention. I'm just poking at my flower, adding just a little bit of dimension, just like that. And then lastly, my leaves. I've got 2 shades of green here. Let me pull them all out. I've got some lemon lime twist. I've got the light and the dark. So I'm going to do some of my leaves in lemon lime twist, just like this. I'm going to do them on the opposite sides and go back in with the dark, just
This
a
would be a
little
good
bit.
card. Like if you didn't have the ribbon on there, right? And
Right.
you just had, then you could put like markers. If you were running a class for, for example, you could just put
Right.
markers out there and then let everybody color whatever color they wanted because you have a gray base. You just have that little bit of blue in the background. I mean, their flowers could be any color they want them to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. This
Mhm.
totally could be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Or put the
Absolutely.
white ribbon down. So the white versus the petal pink on the front.
That's
Then
true.
again,
That is
you could
true.
change the color. So if you don't have these markers at home or these colors of markers, you could easily just stamp any, color them with whatever colors you have at home.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back in because we've got a little bit of die cutting to do. And so I'm going to bring in my plates. I'm making my sandwich. We talked about our sandwich. So I'm going to start with this little, let me see where I put my dies. I've got them right here. So I'm going to start with the little stool, the little plant. We're going to call it a plant stand. And let me get my tape off of my last die because then you won't have to watch me try to tear it. I'm doing that because sometimes when I use my mini, if I don't have my plates aligned correctly, things shift. So if you're one of those people that it bothers you when it shifts, then get a little bit of washi tape, get a little bit of painter's tape, or this repositionable. This is just a 3M repositionable tape. So now we can cut the other two. Hear that? And just add a little bit here. And then this is going to take me a minute because I got to figure out where the flower
Like
go. Oh, look at
pick a
that.
leaf, any leaf.
Yep. I think I got it. All right. And then we're not quite done coloring that one, but I want to get it die cut out first. Let me pull that out. So we can do both of those at the same time. This is what I was talking about. If I don't have it aligned quite, what? Hold on.
No worries.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's see.
That little blue machine is still available online, isn't it? The little boho blue.
Yes, I believe it is.
I think it is. I think it's an online exclusive. So if anybody wanted that the little machine is always nice because like with this, like if you're just sitting at a desk or if you go to
Yeah.
retreats or
Yeah.
crops or anything like that, it's the perfect size just to have right at your desk for die cutting.
Yes, I really like to have the mini when I'm just don't if I'm being I'll say lazy and I just want to work from my desk. Then
Mm-hmm.
it's really nice. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a little bit of coloring on this with some pool party, and it's because I like to have this background instead of it being white. I'm going to fill it in with a little bit of pool party because I'm going to put some pool party. I'm going to blend a little bit of pool party behind this whole image to make it pop. So by having this, I don't have the white edges showing, and it makes it feel like it's not uh, flat, like floating. It's
Gives it
round.
depth.
Yeah,
Gives it
yeah,
depth, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
definitely
saw
does. So
who was
I
it I
do that
saw?
a
I
lot.
think I saw Patty Bennett did it. Patty Bennett did it with we have the new basic beige color. And
Yes.
she was stamping with that and she found that we have the ivory and the bronze blends. The ivory matched really well with that
Oh, nice.
basic beige and kind of
Oh,
did the
nice.
same thing, like colored in the background. And I thought, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm just taking the blending brush. You could use a sponge. You can use your sponge daubers. And I am adding because I know I'm going to put something over this. I'm not worried about getting a little sploochy there because I'm going to be covering it up. But I want to make sure that I've got color coming out from my where my images are. So I'm going to just put a little bit of a um, I want to get a little more color here on this side. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that.
Mhm.
All right, so let me put that away. So I've just blended a bunch of color on, and now it's time for me to put my card together. And I'm going to start with my little bench, my little stool. And I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to start, I've got a little bit of a splop, so I'm going to start it down low. And then I'm doing this all, this part here flat. So this is going to go on my bench, on my stool. I keep calling it a bench, but it's actually a stool. And then I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I've got some here. And then I just saw something I did on mine, and I'm going to show you if you want to do this, but I think it's perfectly fine the way it is, just like this. And then you can decide, like, how do I want that to go on my card? These things stick on there and I don't love it.
They stick
So
everywhere.
I know. So this is going to go like that. Now, on this card, you probably can't even see it. But what I did, if you can't see it, is I took the, I don't even think I brought them over here. I took a little bit of gray where it's over the
Oh,
pot so that I put a little bit of gray there. I don't think that you really notice it. It
no,
doesn't
I
bother
don't think
me.
so.
So there's a difference, but there, stamp it your way. So there's a
Yeah,
little bit of gray there because that's the gray in the background, and then this is with pure blue, which doesn't bother me. But you
one
will
part shorter than
notice
the other. Yeah,
you'll notice a little decorative edge, and I thought that was kind of fun. I like to sometimes do squiggly lines, just
I
makes this
love this.
kind of
Love this
kind of pop.
idea.
Yeah, it kind
Hmm.
of pops. So this one I did straight lines and dots. I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to do some squiggles. And sometimes you can do a line, you can do a squiggle, couple
And they are
dots.
not the same. They're
No,
not the same
no.
length. They're not the same. Yeah,
I think people worry about that, and that's the whole thing about it is it's whimsical. So sometimes
mhm,
I curl back and sometimes I curl forward and sometimes I don't even curl. I'm not stressing about that because in the end, no one's going to be looking at uh, each individual line. They're going to be looking at it as a whole. So remember that. Sometimes you have to step back and look at things as a whole, and no one's going to even notice that one squiggle
right.
is not perfectly aligned or it's a little crooked, and
The
that's
goal
okay.
is not to overthink this. Just do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a framing technique, and just using these new markers, I just love it. So there's a difference between a straight line and just a little squiggly line. Okay,
Cute.
and then yeah, and then you can glue this on to your card. And then I'll show you what I did on the inside. I've got to add it. Whoops, I stuck it up. Hold on. It's stuck
Whoopsie.
before I got it. I was trying to get under that ribbon and I got a little bit too close. Luckily, it's very forgiving. So I'm going to add a few of my pearls and I'm going to bring in my take your pick tool and use a little and a big. And then I'm going to go one big one right down here. I like to do the threes. We always talk about the threes. And then I've got a piece. So this is really doesn't have a greeting on the um, outside. Let me find my greeting.
This would be great for
Buried in.
anything.
This would be great for anything. You are absolutely right. I am going to do, I'm going to bring in some smoky slate. I'm still staying in the gray family, but I don't want it quite that um, dark. So I'm going to say lucky, so lucky to know you. And then I want to come back with my floral. And this is another kind of technique. And I'm going to bring in, I've got a scrap paper. I'm going to use this as my scrap paper because I didn't put one on my desk. But I like to just bring in a tone on tone, not even
Hmm.
coloring it, just a little bit of floral. And then you can bring in your envelope and do the same thing on your envelope, just like that. So you've just got a little
Perfect.
bit of tone on tone. You're not coloring that in. Now, could I? Yes, most certainly. You could definitely color that in. Not
Another idea is
intentionally
you
at
could
all.
take your blending brush that has a little bit of
Yeah,
that pool party and you could add that too,
that's a great
which is
idea.
actually what I'm going to show you in the card that I'm doing.
Oh,
So,
good.
yes, yay.
Yeah. So there's two different ideas, same kind of look. And then here's my card
Oh,
here.
they're so pretty.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cards this month, and I really love them, and I hope you guys do too. So
So
ready
pretty. So,
when you
so
are.
pretty.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Ready to see mine?
Yes, I can't wait.
Look pretty good?
Yeah. I love that you
Okay.
always show the dies. I'm bad about that because I don't have my dies mount. I don't mount my dies like you do. So I'm
Right.
always happy that you have them. So thank you.
No worries. No worries. Happy to have them available. Yeah, to show kind of what we're doing here. And again, what you showed, like with all the leaves that all kind of match. On the second card, I'm going to do, the flowers are great because there are all these flowers that it's going to cut out without you having to cut all these individuals. But I'll show you that card second. So the dies
Okay.
on this one, actually, there's no die cutting on my first card, which is kind of nice. There's no
Oh,
die
fun.
cutting on it at all. So it's super easy, and it is this one,
I love it.
and it is using that soft sea foam. I don't use soft sea foam a lot, but it's such a subtle color, and it really is very, very pretty. So for this one, we are going to use some blends. So I use the new Summer Splash. I used Petal Pink. I used soft sea foam, and then I like a color lifter. And then with the paper, I've got my card base here. I'm going to fold that in half. And then I have got, of course, an envelope that we're going to do. I have got a piece of soft sea foam that's 4.5 by 3.5. I've got a piece of Petal Pink for the inside, a piece of white for the inside. I've got a little piece of that beautiful ribbon, a piece of the Designer Series paper. So this one almost has like a little bit of a sea foamy. I got a shadow that right in the middle
Yeah,
there. So
it's like a sea foam, but it's like a basic beige. It's like a little eyelet
yeah,
lace.
it
It's
is.
so
It's kind
cute.
of like depending on what you put it with, it has a different tone, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. You hit it on
Put it
the
with green,
nail.
it looks green. Put it with gray or brown, it looks brown. Yeah, or like with the beige. Yeah. Okay. So in this one, what I want to do here is I'm going to take this piece first, and I'm going to bring in the floral image. So for this one, I'm using this pot, and I'm using this floral image, and then I'm using the word sending love. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to bring on that tone on tone that Mary Ellen was talking about. I'm going to use some soft sea foam ink, and I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp. And it doesn't have to be right or wrong because all it is going to be an accent for around the corners, right? Just to give it a little bit of detail. So I'm just going to kind of stamp here and then maybe bring some going upside down. Because again, nobody's going to be looking at it that closely to see if the flowers are going in the right direction. It's just to add a little bit of detail in that corner. Okay.
It adds like some texture. It's like a texture type of thing.
Exactly, right? So I'm going to clean that because I am going to need that stamp again. So I'm going to clean that quickly, and I'm going to get rid of my soft sea foam ink, and I'm going to bring in Memento. So on the piece for the front, I had it here. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the pot first.
I love that little teapot. We're kind of teapot collectors here, so we've got a lot of teapots and teacups.
It is so cute, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using Memento. I probably should have a mat underneath me, but we're going to try it without it. I'm coming up just a little bit. And there's my flower pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my flowers. And it's the same kind of concept. By the way, there is in the stamp set, just so you know, there's a single line stamp right here. And it kind of like, it throws you off when you look at it because it's just this, right? But that is what you could use to kind of seal off one of your pots if you wanted to, right? Or the milk jug. If you wanted the milk jug to kind of have a lid on it, there is one stamp that is like a single line. I'm going to stamp here my flowers. And what I'm doing is kind of looking at the edging of where my pot ends and just trying to connect those with the, like some of the flowers that are in here. So it looks like they're kind of connected like that. Right?
Yes. That looks good.
It looks good. I probably could have brought that down a little bit. I'm a little high on the top, but you know what? That's okay. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to color, and I'm going to bring in the Summer Splash, and I'm going to go ahead and use the light, and all I'm doing is just quickly coloring in my little flowers at the top, or little leaves, if you want to call them leaves. I like blue flowers. I think there are blue flowers in nature. And I thought, well,
Well, see,
that
and
would
you're just
be,
dotting. That's that little dot, that little dotting. You're not having to do a lot. You're just basically dotting color onto where the artist already has little blossoms.
yep, yep, exactly. So where there's an opening, I'm just kind of dotting it with the ink and being done with it. I'm not overthinking it, just kind of dotting it on there. And then I'm going to come in with the soft sea foam, and I'm going to color in my leaves back here. Again, just kind of adding. And if I have white space in there, I'm okay with that, because I like that artsy look. And I'm not even going to do a whole lot of blending on that. Like, I'm not adding any darkness to it. I kind of like the leaves being a little bit on the lighter shade. But while I have that, I'm going to go ahead and color in my pot as well. So I'm going to bring in the light. And I like to color like around the border first. So we each do it slightly differently. There's no right way or wrong way to do it.
No.
Just remember that with blends, you don't have to push very hard. I had someone say to me the other day about their blends were really dry and rough and all that. And I think it's a matter of pressure. So when you're using the blends, let the marker do the work for you. All right, so I'm going to come in, and I'm going to leave a white space right there in the center. And I'm going to do that on purpose there for a second. Actually, you know what? I colored with the dark instead of the light. Did you see that? You didn't even catch me on that. You're supposed to be making sure I know what I'm doing.
Well, I was going to ask you if you were going to stamp your little design on your pot, but maybe you're going to do that at the end. So I didn't want to
I'm
be
actually going to
bossy.
do that at the end. So I'm coming in with the light actually over the dark now, and I am going to color in just that middle section. So by
Oh no, it's
leaving it
perfect.
last, it automatically created shading in there. You see that?
Yeah.
There's the light. See it? So by coloring that last, it created that shading in the center. I'm just going to go in, and now I'm going to bring my dark in again. This is a very subtle marker, so it doesn't have a lot of tone difference to it. And again, that artist tells you where to shade. So if you see those lines, that's a really good indication of where to shade. All right. Now, I love the color lifter for adding additional depth. I think it does a lot of the work for me. Oh, I've got a pretty good area in here that is lighter, but if I needed to, I could bring in my color lifter and just add more shading around, and you'll gradually start to see that lighten up even bigger for me. Okay. I'll let that, and it takes a second or two for that to work. So if you don't get a result right away, don't worry about it. Just give it a second, because it'll start to lighten as it goes. Color in my little roses here with the petal pink, and then I'm bringing in the dark petal pink, and I just color like right in the center. Nothing fancy. Don't worry about it. Just adding a darker center to them. And there is my pot. Isn't that cute?
It's cute, but you're missing the design on it.
I am missing the design. You like that little
You
design, don't
promised me you were going to add it. So I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. It's fun because it's nice the way it is, or you can add it. I just think it's fun.
Exactly, exactly.
And you
This
can have
little
it any
design
way
is
you want it to go.
this
It's
little
so
eyelet.
cute.
It is so cute, right? It just adds so much to that little pot, doesn't it?
It does. It's just a little pop.
Just a little pot. All right, so this one, I'm going to go ahead, and I like a lot of dimension. I use dimensionals a lot, and I'm okay with multiple layers. Some people worry about the mailing of it when it has multiple layers. You know, that's okay too. If you don't want to, you don't have to pop this edge up. You can always make it a little bit, you can make it flush with the card. That's fine too. Stamp it your way. I'm going to
And you
pop
just
that
have
up
to
there.
tell yourself, is your friend worth the extra 20 cents in postage? Yes, they are. They're
Oh, I
worth
got
it.
glue that's not going to work. All right, hold on a second. Come on. I've had glue fighting me the last couple days. It's been awful. Look, that one doesn't work either.
I'm glad it's not just me.
That one doesn't work either. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, wait, there's one here. I got another one here. Third time's the charm? No, why would it be?
Tap it on the table.
Silly glue. I haven't used it in a while, and I'm afraid I'm going to go too much. So give me a second. Let me grab a new bottle. Let's try this again. Hey, success.
Can't go wrong with a new bottle.
New bottle of glue. I'm going to have to get a needle out after those other ones. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that piece on here. And as I'm looking at this, I think this one actually is a little bit bigger than that one. Do you see it? Now that I put it together. But
Yes,
it's already glued, so I'm not going to worry about it. But you can see the difference between the designer paper on that.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
them
well,
both.
that's it.
You can see more.
It's a handmade
You
card.
can see more of it. You can see more of the designer series paper, so it's nice.
Exactly, exactly. I like the ribbon when I can kind of put the stamp and seal right on the back of it. And then just kind of pop that down in the center. And I can bring in my scissors and I can trim it up.
Isn't it fun that little design on the ribbon is right where you can trim right with the little design? I've kind of enjoyed that little diagonal.
Exactly. You definitely overthunked. You definitely overthunked your cards a lot more than I did. You're like, oh, is the pot colored or not colored? Is the pot going under the leaf or not? I so did not do that.
Oh, no, it's fine.
You are way more creative than I am, girl.
Well, that's not true, but I think that having us both have our own ways, it shows people like if they want to know, because there's people who are like, okay, I don't understand light or I don't understand that, then we'll share a
Exactly.
little bit of that. But if we're showing them, it doesn't have to be that way. So I love it.
Exactly. And I did this when I was putting one of my cards together. I did this the other day, and I did it again just now, where I forgot to do the words before I put it on. So I'm going to attempt. I did this the last time I did this, and it actually worked. So fingers crossed, we're going to try it again. I'm doing your little technique where I only want love, right? So it says sending love, but I only want love. So I'm going to do what you do, and I'm going to ink just love on the side of my ink pad. And nice thing about the photopolymers, I can see right through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold this down. Of course, there's a dimensional right in the wrong spot. But we're going to try it anyway. So I'm going to wish me luck.
Good luck.
Luck.
Yay.
Look at that. Like I knew what I was doing. Like I knew what I was doing. All right, and that was the new summer splash. I think this one, the petunia pop is really cute, but I am such a blue girl that the summer splash is definitely one of my favorites already. And then I have my little pearls here as well. And I just added one right to that little center right there. And there's my card. Now for the inside, I did go ahead and stamp the floral image again. I won't color it because you kind of know how to do that. But what you can do, and just like what Mary Ellen was doing, you can just stamp part of it. You don't have to stamp the whole thing. So you can just kind of stamp. Maybe you want a little bit of the roses to show, or maybe not. Maybe you just want to have a little bit of that blue, right? So you could stamp that. And then again, your envelope, if you want to do the corner of your envelope, add what you want on there. And again, color as needed, right?
Yes, it's lovely.
All right, so this one, this is going to go in here, and that's going to go inside my card so that it ends up looking like that.
That's nice.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it's a nice note card, so you can use that for anything. You know, that's what
Yes.
I love about it.
Yep, this one does. Yeah, it doesn't have any kind of right or wrong to it. It's just sending a card that is sending love to somebody. Excellent. That was easy, right? No die cutting, super simple. By the way, I was thinking when you were showing earlier the embossing folder, I bet you where I stamped that soft seafoam piece back here, I bet you could have done
Oh,
that with the embossing folder, and that
sure.
would have made that pop a little bit too.
Well, that would have been nice too. Yeah, I like it both ways.
Hmm.
That's a good idea though.
Hmm. Yep. All right, so there is card number 1 for me. Now, card number 2 is I actually love this card. I made probably 30 of these as a
Wow.
swap card because I loved it so much. It's got a little bit of work to it, but it is super easy to do. Let me clean up my spot here a second. Let me bring this in. So here is the card. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's the card, and then here's what it looks like when it opens.
So
Isn't
nice.
that pretty?
You made 30 of those?
I did. I did. She
Wow.
says. I did make 30 of them. They go super fast. They goes a lot faster than you think. It really does because there's not a
Okay.
whole lot to it.
Okay,
It
prove
goes a
it.
lot faster. I'm going to prove it right now. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So with this one, you can see these little flowers that I did in here, right? So the
Yep.
nice thing about this is that with so many dies cutting all of these flowers, I can get all of these flowers. This one actually comes through as a continuous loop. So this one could work if you wanted to trim them out, but these are the ones you're going to use to get all these flowers. So I just ran those through and I had enough to keep running and keep running, and I could get multiples out of that.
That's true.
I'm also using the milk pail die, and I'm using the floral die. Okay, easy. All right. So for this one, you're going to need some Misty Moonlight and Smoky Slate ink. And you're going to need, I'm using some of the small blending brushes, which are super cute. They are cute, right? These little small blending brushes.
Yeah, they are cute.
They're cute, right? All right. Let me get my, I've got a mess here. Let me get that out. All right. Blending brushes. All right. I've got, of course, an envelope. In the packet that we gave, we're giving 2 long strips. So this is what they're going to use for stamping and for die cutting. So I'm going to kind of just put those aside. We have got a piece of white for the back. We have got 2 pieces of designer series paper. We've got a strip of piece of ribbon to go around the front. We've got a card for in the back. We have got a piece of smoky slate. Another piece of smoky slate. And I'm going to kind of throw my little pieces there. And then a piece of Misty Moonlight. Now, we're going to go ahead and score our cardstock, okay? So I'm going to kind of slide all these pieces out of here. And I want to bring in my score. Okay. So I want to score, and I think this, I love the paper. I love the paper trimmer. But at home, like if I'm traveling or somewhere, but at home, this sits right underneath my desk. It's so easy to pull this guy out. And especially if you're making 30 of them, it's very easy
Yeah.
to throw the paper in here and quickly get your scores. So this whole piece right here is 11 by 5.5. Okay. So it is 5.5 this way by your 11, right? And we're going to score this at 1 3/4. So I'm going to come in here at 1 3/4 and I'm going to score. And I'm going to do 3.5. I'm doing 5 1/4. And I'm going to do 7. So 4 score lines there. 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, and 7. that down underneath my desk again. And this is kind of like that mountain valley fold, right? So I'm going to fold a valley first because that's going to be the inside of my card. And then I'm going to do like a mountain and a valley and another mountain. So mountain, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, right? And I'm going to use my bone folder just to give that a crisp fold. So that there is my card base, right? Easy.
Yes. Yeah.
This piece of smoky slate is 6.5 by 3.25. I think so. I think it's 6.5 by 3.25. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this in half. Just like that. And this is the piece that's going to go in my inside and be attached. Right about there is where it's going to be attached. But I'm going to put the designer series paper on here first. So I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to do my paper. Now, if you do a paper that has a design in it, kind of pay attention to your design and which way it's going, because you're going to want both sides to be the same. So if you have a directional paper, keep an eye on the direction that it's going. It's just a polka dot, it won't matter, but directional, so that I get that on both sides. And I like to just kind of eyeball it up and down just to make sure that the lines are going straight. Okay. While that's kind of setting up, I'm going to bring in this piece, and I'm going to bring in my smoky slate ink. Bring in my smoky slate ink, and I'm going to go ahead and ink our pail. And if you were doing 2 of these, you'd do it twice. So you have enough on here to stamp it twice. If you're doing Stamp It Your Way, if you signed up for the kit, you'd do that twice. Okay. And you'd still have enough room. So if I did this again, you would also still have enough room to do your words, which I'm going to go ahead and do with the Misty Moonlight on the same piece. And I'm using the words best friend ever, because it seems pretty fitting to use this when I'm doing this with my best friend. So I'm going to do best friend ever. And you could actually get 2 of these on here as well. All right. And probably have a little bit of extra there just in case, just for whatever you might need. All right. So that's what you're going to use. And when you do that, you're going to go ahead and you're going to die cut that out. Okay. So you're going to end up with this. And then you're going to just hand cut with your scissors. You're going to cut out best friend ever. There we go. So that I just cut those out. So what I did was I cut right around those little dots. So I just cut it that way and then cut those out to get the best friend ever. Easy, right?
Yes, it is. So far, so good.
I'm going to cut this one out just so I can show you the difference between this pot and that pot. Okay. Now this one is what I'm going to use then for my flowers. So again, I'm using the smoky slate and I'm going to stamp my flowers. And if I were getting the kit, I would do this twice. Okay. And then what I would do is I would use all of those dies to line up on here, and I would use those to then cut out all those extra flowers that I'm going to need as well. All right. When you do that, you're going to cut one of these out, by the way, just to have one so I can compare. I'm not going to die cut it because I have it already die cut, but you'll see what I mean here in a second. And then what am I going to do next? All right. So let me kind of push this aside, and I want to get this attached. Okay. And I'm going to bring in this white piece for back here. So that doesn't have any stamping on it. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that in now. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to adhere this together. So I actually found it easier to kind of adhere this side first and then adhere this one. So I'm going to add, you want to use something pretty strong, like a Seal Plus or liquid glue, but I don't want a lot because I'm only doing part of it. So I'm only doing like right there at the bottom edge, and I'm kind of centering this and bringing it in a little bit. So right there. So I'm looking at center on either side. And if I squeeze this shut and kind of gently squeeze it, I like the liquid glue because it gives me that little chance to move it around a little bit if I need to, shift it a little bit if I need to. And all I want to do is just make sure that that's kind of straight on my card. And that looks pretty good, right?
Yes, it looks great.
So this side is adhered. Now all I have to do is open this side up, add a little bit of glue at the bottom down here. Don't go too high up. And then just push that closed. All right, so that, give that a second to kind of set there. And now I have my inside. Easy, right?
I wondered how you did that. It's pretty cool. That's not a fold I've done, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna now though.
I
If
know,
you can
right?
do
It's
30,
so
I
easy
can
to
do
do.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. All right, now this one, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my words. So lucky to know you, because I am very lucky to know my best friend because she is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. And I'm going to go right here in the center. Actually, I'm going to go over here a little bit to the top left, like that. And I'm going to stamp my floral image again, but I'm going to use the smoky slate. And just like what she was doing, is I'm just going to stamp off the side a little bit. So I have a little bit of the flower. And while I have that in my hand, I might as well just go ahead and stamp my envelope to match. And again, I can just stamp the corner of it right there. Okay. Now, blending wise, I wanted this to have a little bit of color because this is going to go on here like this, and that's going to go in here. But I wanted that to be have a little bit of color. Like the tone on tone is fine, like just having the white, but I wanted it to have a little bit of shading. So I am going to use some of the Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to use the small blending brush. And my ink pad is pretty dark, so I don't need a lot on this. And I want to make sure that I'm doing a very light shading. So hold your brush back here. If you hold your brush back here, it's really hard to press harder. If you hold it up here, you're going to press really hard. If you hold it back here, it's very easy to get a lighter blending if you hold it back towards the back. And it's not as hard to put as much pressure on it, just to get a light color on there. Because when I do that, and I put this here, then it just pops a little bit. Can you see that blue?
Yes, I can. That looks good.
Yeah. So this one, and here's a little trick with this. So I'm going to put this on here. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to want this to line up because I want to make sure I'm not seeing that somewhere. I want to make sure it's lining up with this piece to fall exactly behind it. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put it right behind this piece because it's the same size. It's 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So they're exactly the same size. I bring it down just slightly a little bit because it's okay if it's in further on this. And then I'm going to add my glue. Okay. While I'm still holding these together, I'm just going to bring it down and push that down. Now I know that that piece is in guaranteed placement behind it. Is it off center a little bit? You know, it is, but I'm okay with that because I want it to be hidden behind there. If I had brought this out a little bit more, this would have maybe come out a little bit more, but I don't think it matters one way or the other.
Didn't even notice it. Doesn't bother me at all. No,
Yeah.
that looks good.
Yeah. Right. And if you're going to write in here or do whatever you want to in there, but it just kind of hides it behind there. Okay. Now I did put the ribbon on my front. Okay. And I did just tie a knot with this. Then you can kind of spin it where you want it. Take your scissors Following Mary Ellen's rule. I did not even think about cutting those on the diagonal until you said that, by the way. Again, you really overthunked yours. I did not overthunk mine. Okay.
I know.
Now,
I'm just thinking use it as a pattern. Utilizing
you
it
are,
as a pattern.
I love that idea. I wish I'd have thought of that. I did not think of that. I'm like, I'm just randomly cutting mine, but now that I have that, I'm totally doing that from now on.
Yeah.
All right, so you might be able to see the difference between these. Let me hold them up a little bit further. Do you see how one's a little dirtier than the other? Because
I
my
can.
pail has been out in the rain and the dirt and the mud and
Yeah.
all that, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted my pot to be just a little dirtier. So I'm using one of the blending brushes with a little bit of smoky slate ink. I'm just adding a little bit of ink to it. And I'm just, again, lightly just kind of adding some shading to the pot. So if you don't like to color, right? So this is another way of going. If you don't like to color, then don't. So instead, just do the pot on smoky slate, stamp it with smoky slate, add some smoky slate shading, and there you've got a pot with shading and you didn't have to color it at all.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw where someone used copper clay and made it like rusty. I mean, you might have to use white paper,
Ooh,
but it looked
that
really
sounds
cute.
pretty. That sounds
Mhm.
pretty. All right, so for the flowers, I did the same thing. So I wanted them to have a little bit of shading. So I'm going to bring in my Misty Moonlight again. Just kind of get a little bit of that off. And again, I'm holding it back here because I want it to be a little bit of a lighter shade. I don't want to go too dark, just to give it a little bit of a light shading on it. Got it?
Yeah, it's nice.
And then you're going to die cut that out. Easy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to add my little pot to the front. I'm going to go about there. And I'm using dimensionals. So now I'm going to add my flowers. You kind of see how you want to do that. How much do you want of the pot to show? How much do you want it to be down? I'm going to go right about there, I think. There we go. So there's my front. There's my inside. The cut flowers kind of match. Now I want to do the best friend ever. So I'm going to just use a little liquid glue on the back of these. The minute I say little is the minute this thing ends up giving me a ton of glue.
Well, it is a new bottle after all.
It is a brand new bottle, so be careful. And of course, I just filed my fingernails, so they're just like fighting me today. Best friend. I'm just kind of offsetting. There's no right way or wrong way to put these on. I'm just kind of slapping them on there. Ever. Though my best friend doesn't know that. My best friend thinks I spent a lot of time on this for her. So she's probably not going to know that I just kind of slapped that on there, right? Okay, so there's that. And then what I needed was just like some little decorative on there. So you could do what Mary Ellen did with the stamping. I just brought a couple of the gems in. And I'm going to do I think I did the darker. So I'm going to do the darker here. And I'm just going to do one right there and one right here. And I'm just actually doing only two. I know we're supposed to do that rule of 3. I am totally breaking the rules on this one. And I am only doing 2.
I like it.
Breaking the rules. I like it. Look at that. Now, the last thing I want to do here is I have all my die cut flowers. So I'm going to bring in my little flowers. And I wanted them to have some shading as well. So what I did was I went ahead and I used the blending brush. And you could do this on your paper. So like you could do it on the paper here and then put your dies on and run that through. Or you can kind of do it after the fact and just kind of brush them after they've been die cut. Either way works, right? So I'm going to put in a large one, a little bit of glue on the back. Add one up here at the top. Probably could have done this before you'd heard it, but that's all right. We can do it after. And I'm going to do a large one at the bottom. And then I'm going to do one small one right there. And then I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals, my little mini minis. And I'm going to take, just to add a little dimension. It does not, the only thing with this card is it does go flat, but it doesn't quite go flat, right? So just be a little careful of that. I'm going to offset this one a little bit and then offset this one so that those have dimension on those insides then. And there's my card. And an envelope, you could do the same thing. Just add a little bit. And you'd be surprised how much ink stays in those little brushes. So don't feel like you always have to add more. Keep going until you kind of don't see anymore.
That's so
Look at that.
pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, I like it.
And it wasn't
Yes.
hard, was it?
No.
It wasn't
And
hard to do.
not a lot of coloring. Just a
No,
nice simple
see, and
technique. I'm definitely going to be using that.
now you know why I did 30 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You still that for anybody that doesn't know, that was her still thinking I'm crazy and nuts, but
Yeah.
she was agreeing with me just to agree with me.
That's right. How'd you know? No.
Done.
That was fun.
It was fun,
Look
right?
up.
I love
Yeah.
new stuff. Gotta love
Yeah.
working with new stuff.
So at the end, we always talk about next month. So you want to talk about next month? I'm going to turn this over to you. You got some big things happening in your life.
I
Good
do.
things.
I do. All good things, all crazy things. So take a look at the background behind me because that is going to change. My husband and I are buying a new house, are in the process of buying a new house. And I'm moving it. I'm literally going to try to pack this office, which is freaking me out a little bit, but so I'm packing up my office and I'm moving into a new home, and so hopefully my background behind me will be I can get it all set up nice and pretty before we get together in June and have a new background. Otherwise, it might just be in stages. It might be a blank wall behind me, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah. So we don't know what we're doing yet in June because I'm still like all over the place. So hopefully we'll figure it out and we'll bring you some featuring something new and fantastic out of the new catalog. One of the new suites I think we're planning to stay with the suites, right?
I think
so
that was our plan.
Yeah. So I think that's a safe bet. So you can plan on it being a suite out of the new catalog, and we can't wait to share with you in June.
We'll know by the time this video airs. We'll probably put it in the video description. Don't you think that would be a good idea?
I think so. Yeah. We can make that happen. That's it for me. I'm good. I got to go back to packing my house.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you watching the April 2024 Stamp It Your Way, whether you got the packet of cards or you are just stamping along with us using products that you have at home. We're just happy that you're stamping, aren't we?
We are very happy. And this is May, because trust me, it feels like it's still April, but it's totally May. So it's been that kind of a month where it's just like, I wish it was still April, but it is May.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. Yes,
we know what we're doing. We are professionals. We are professionals. We know what we're doing.
And we're glad that you tuned in. So watch for our next coming in June. And you guys, we appreciate you, and subscribe to our channel so that you get all the updates on when we go live. Or when our videos premiere. Yes, please subscribe. We love to feel the love. Yeah. And until then, we'll see you next month. Bye, everybody.